Yeah, hey, Woodstock here again. I hope everyone's doing great. Here's the last section, part three of this series. We're gonna cover like some detailing work and finish up with some paint work on the teeth and eyeballs. So stick around to the end. You'll see the paint job going on. So it's pretty cool. But anyway, yeah, this is a pretty cool knot. Turned out better than expected, and pretty excited about it. Sometimes when you least expect something, there's always like a surprise. Like in the beginning, I thought the crack in the face would be a problem, but in fact, it hasn't been a problem at all. So, when you're working on something and you think it's not going to work out, just stick with it. Usually, it might work out, you know. So, there you go. In other words, don't give up. So, anyway, just thought I'd put that in there. But yeah, right here, we're using small carbide burrs for detail work around the teeth and mouth area. We're gonna accent the teeth this time. Actually, put a little more effort into it. He's kind of got a slight grimace or something like that, baring his teeth. Might be some kind of unruly character, as a matter of fact. Who knows? But in the end, he might be a nice guy. Yeah, feel free to leave comments or ask questions in the chat section here during this live session. If you can't make the live session, you can always leave questions or comments in the comment section as well. So, that being said, don't be shy, don't be bashful. We're all here to learn. And so, yeah, I just wanted to mention I was selling bark, but now I'm kind of like on a holding pattern right now because my supplies are kind of limited now. So, with that, I'd like to halt sales temporarily right now until I get a viable supply again. So right now, um, I know some of you've bought stuff already, and I just want to put that out there in case anyone's wondering if I have anything on hand. But case is I don't at this time, so be patient. I should get something maybe on the way out back to Oregon. Hopefully, I can get something on the way out. We'll see. It's more or less like a scout trip, so we'll see what I can find. But here in the Midwest, there's bark out there, but you have to really gotta hunt for it. It's not like readily available. So, considering all the prairie land out here. Yeah, at this stage of the game, I don't use the high torque Dremel tools here. I'm just using this Stylo Plus, which I've highly recommend if you're into detail work, because it's really good at that, and it's lightweight. It doesn't like there's no fatigue action going on with a heavy tool. So yeah, you can spend hours and hours without getting tuckered out. Yeah, I just wanted to mention these knots are really kind of nice because they're almost like plastic quality, which I've mentioned in the past, and it's like very nice to work with. And the wood's not as tough as you would think. But the only problem is the burrs get gummed up a bit, so you got to clean up periodically, then brush off the face like here, as we see. So, yeah, there's pros and cons to everything, you know. So, right here, I'm just working around the mouth here, trying to get some depth going on. You know, bring out the definition a little bit better than as opposed to like a flatter look. And then try to think in a three-dimensional aspect, more or less, like everything's curved, so that helps out a bit when you're bringing out the details. So you want to keep that in mind, because no one has a flat mouth. The corners of the mouth right there kind of get recessed in. So another thing is to like look at a face like from the side view, front view, top view, bottom view, from all angles, so you get the proper shape. Yeah, so another thing is like you don't need to wear a mask at this stage as well, because there's not much dust flying around. You only have to wear that when you're doing the initial rough out stage where there's stuff flying all over the place. So, but yeah, I'm using the steel wool. I use this stuff all the time. It's like a carver's best friend, I would say. So yeah, it's really cool to have. It just makes everything more organic in the final piece. Gives it a more polished look as well. So it's almost like you don't have to put any varnish on this stuff. But it's your choice. I tend to not put any varnish on these. But I'm thinking about changing that behavior pretty soon, because I want to start experimenting with that stuff. Maybe different stains, perhaps. There's all kinds of different techniques you can use on that. It's pretty cool. Sky's the limit. You're not shackled to any kind of a regimen. Yeah, here I'm working on the teeth. My hand's in the way, you can't see anything right now, but here you'll see something in a bit. I'm just putting in the little gaps between teeth too. Use a super small carbide burr. And right now I just put in the upper row of teeth and the bottom row of teeth. They're really small, they're diminutive. They're not going to be too exaggerated. I mean, next piece I might make the teeth bigger, more like stick out a little more. But these are more subtle. Sometimes subtle's better, you know, instead of being too in your face kind of thing, you know. But yeah, I'm always bouncing around here. I'm just going back to the eyes, pushing the eyeballs back into the eye bags, more or less. Because when you look at the eye, there's a eye bag around the top and the bottom of the eyeball, and then you got the slit for the pupil and stuff like that, and iris. So that's what I was doing there. And here we go again, back to the mouth. Just recessing the back the corners in too a little bit. Just give it some depth and stuff and definition there. You can see how the build-up action happens there. Stuff doesn't fall away. It just stays where it's at. It stays where you grind it off, and it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't fly off or anything like that. So you have to constantly brush this shit off. No big deal, right? It's not a big speed game here. Yeah, I'm thinking of having another contest sometime in the summer when I get some more supply. So I'll let you guys know beforehand. Maybe have a little post up so you guys can check it out. It's going to be another worldwide giveaway. Yeah, it gets kind of expensive though, shipping overseas. That's the only downside of it. But other than that, you know, hey, they're fun to do, right? So anyway, give someone else a chance to win. Last winner was Jock up in Winnipeg. He won the box. So I hope he finds that in good condition when he receives it. So I trust the postal service. So yeah, so here I'm just going around the eyes and stuff, and you know, just constantly like fine tuning things here. It's a continual process. And I call this the phase 3 part of the sculpture. I usually work in 3 parts, like the rough out, intermediate phase, and then the detail phase is part 3. Break it down into 3 sections. And the teeth area is takes a bit of time, but once you get it done, it's pretty nice. It gives a lot of dynamic to the face instead of having a closed mouth. I mean, you could do the closed mouth look. I mean, but when you have the mouth open showing teeth, it just adds a whole new dimension to the piece, more or less. But I try not to fall into the same old routine. I always want to try something different a little bit, it just gives a variety to your work and stuff like that. I recommend exploring, trying different things. Yeah, I use this welder's brush to brush off some of the debris. It does a better job than sometimes the bristle brush, because the bristle brush can't get into the deep areas sometimes like that without removing stuff. So basically it's like a brush that welders use that removes splatter, I think, from welding activity. So something I've bought at the hardware store. It's only a few bucks. It's good for brushing off stubborn debris. So yeah, here basically work on the teeth for the most part on this portion of the video. Just trying to get everything recessed behind the lips somewhat to give it some depth. Yeah, it's almost like being at the dentist. You're doing some dental work on this guy. But yeah, at least the dude's getting some free dental care here. Can't beat that. So yeah, like I said, that brush comes in handy for getting especially the mouth area there where you got that stubborn debris. Yeah, definitely no problems yet with this Stylo Plus. I've had it over about coming up on a year now, and it's no problems whatsoever. So I'm not endorsing the product. I'm just giving it a little praise. It's well worth the money, I'd say. I don't know, they always seem to come out with new products. This is one of the latest ones, I think. But yeah, towards the end of the video I'm going to be doing some painting. I haven't done that in a while, so it's going to be interesting. It gives another whole dynamic to the piece as well. When you put a little color in the eyes, just gives it a lot more realism, more or less. Yeah, it looks like I'm almost done here, but I still got a ways to go. I got to do some more detail work here. I'm just gonna hit the face with a little wire wool here, get this all buffed out a little bit, and then see what we need to do from there. Yeah, I like to do some sanding and wire wool work periodically during the process. It just gives you an idea of what the final product's going to be like, what you can anticipate. And yeah, you should definitely wear gloves using the steel wool or wire wool, because it tends to get stuck under your skin. It's very sharp, so definitely wear some gloves doing it. Let's do a little zoom around here, check out the piece, look for any problems, do a profile shot a little bit, see what's going on. Looks okay. Yeah, we took a little break, now we're back. Gonna do the finish up on the details here. I took a few days off between between sessions here, so like I just want to take a break. Sometimes it's good to just stand back, look at the product, kind of analyze it, and when you feel ready, just jump back in and do some adjustments, and they're good to go. Here I'm just kind of refining the lines on the face now, just to bring stuff out, give it more definition. It's kind of a subtle process. I'm not one to be heavy-handed when it comes to the final third phase part of the process. I just like to, just take my time, not be too hasty as well. Yeah, these are just subtle changes I'm applying to the face. Changes that are not too drastic, but just like minor tweaks here and there, which I think is going to just make the whole thing a lot presentable and more visually appealing, more striking maybe. So yeah, I'll be happy to put this one aside, even though it was a fun project. I'm looking forward to trying some new faces, as always. Maybe do a female face sometime soon again. That's always a nice little challenge. I don't think there's as near as enough female faces being done out there, to be honest. And I think it's always nice to have some diversity. It's kind of strange though why the male faces seems to be predominantly portrayed in sculpture like this, especially the wood spirits. Be a good question to ask on a Reddit forum or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, it's definitely not as easy to easy to execute a female face because shapes perhaps. Anyway, it's something to ponder when you're sitting there drinking a cup of tea or coffee or whatever. Yeah, anyway, doing the final touches on the teeth here. It's a tedious process, but rewarding in the end. And I think that crack on his face is looking really sweet. I think that's going to be a nice addition to his face. Some kind of war wound he sustained in battle, perhaps. Or maybe it's just old age. Yeah, I might have to do a giveaway on the pine knots as well. Depends on the scarcity of the cottonwood bark, so. But I can always find pine knots. They seem to be easier to locate. The only problem with pine knots is they're kind of more scattered about. They're not concentrated in one area. So it's basically you got to do a lot of walking around. Find an old dead tree laying around on its side. That's where you find the pine knots. And they're the last part to decompose on the ground since it's got the high density resin characteristics of the branch there. And so like they're what's left of the once living tree, and by far they're probably the most enjoyable things to carve for me. And I don't know what it is. It's probably the shape of the knot that makes it appealing to the work that I do with it. So, and it's just cylindrical in shape, so it's already formed for you. So basically, you have to do is recess the eyes and the other portions of the face, and then you're good to go. Okay, so we've reached the end of that fine tuning with the Dremel. Now we're gonna do some accent with some acrylic paint and paintbrush here. which you can find these paintbrushes at Joann Fabrics or Michael's or any craft store. And I would try to get the smallest brush you can, because you're dealing with like small areas in the face and you want to be able to do a lot of detail work without like blobbing stuff on and making it look messy. So the finer the brush, the better you are. And this one's a Duro Gold. It's let's see, it's like a, I'm not sure the number on the brush, but yeah, it's pretty small. And it's called a Duro Gold Chicago USA 100. I use a little white acrylic with some metallic gray for the iris of the eye. And then right there I'm using some steel wool to clean up some of the over paint on the eyelid, because I didn't get it perfect, and it's like you kind of want to clean that stuff up and just focus on the eyeball itself. So there's some finer brushes you can get, like super fine, that are really pinpoint. And sometimes you might, if you're doing miniature work, you got to use like some kind of magnifying lens to do the super detailed work and stuff, but this is fine. You don't need that stuff for this one. So yeah, first of all you paint the whites of the eye, and then you're going to come in later and put in the pupils and the iris. And another trick I do is like I just put one little pinpoint of white on the pupil to give it like a glint, like it's like light reflection off the eye, so it gives it more dynamic look. And yeah, I decided to make the pupil a little bigger, not so much beady-eyed looking, so I'm gonna make the iris and the pupil a little bit bigger, and then I think that'll be better than giving it like the ratty, beady-eyed look. So we're just getting the proper paint ready. Just did a little pre-mix of white and gray, just to give it a little more color there. And he's not looking straight at you. He's kind of looking off to his left a little bit, just a very slight glance, I would say. And that always makes your piece look a little nice, because it's like looking off to the side a little bit, and you're going, what the heck's he looking at, you know? So it gives it more mystique or mysterious look to the face, like it's seeing something that you can't see, instead of looking straight, deadpan, looking right at you, because then you know what it's looking at. But if it's looking off to the side, you don't know what it's looking at, so it creates a whole new dynamic. Yeah, it's just something to think about, something to be conscious of when you're creating stuff like this. And then here I'm finalizing the teeth. Just going to do some light brush work with the acrylic white. Then after that I'm going to go in and accent the gaps in between with the darker paint, just to accent and bring out the contrast of the teeth. Give it more definition. A little trick there. So, but anyway, we're coming up on the end of this video. It's a little bit longer than usual, since it's the final part of this series, and I hope everyone got something out of it. And like I said, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Yeah, I appreciate you stopping by, checking out the video, and always a pleasure. And we'll see you all on the next video. Okay, take care. Okay, bye.